Hello and welcome to the Mainly Eminem podcast in association with ePro. Joining me today is Blake and Ross. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we today on this fine evening?
I'm good, mate. And yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Can't complain. It's been a couple of weeks since we dropped our last episode. Of course, Blake, yourself, you weren't there, unfortunately. So I just wanted to get a little quick sort of reaction to yourself, because we didn't ask you the question. The album as a whole, The Death of Slim Shady, how do you feel now that we're a good few months on from it being released?
It's definitely up there in terms of quality. Like you can tell that. Like so, all this time, obviously, the fan base on social media have been moaning that nothing's been happening. I'm glad he hasn't rushed anything. It seems like he has actually put a lot of time and effort into this whole project. And like the people that are saying it's easily in their top five, I can understand, just because there aren't many skips.
Yeah.
Little to none for me, but all in all, it is a very solid album.
Yeah, I think that's what me and Ross were discussing on the last show. You basically got the first track, from the first track probably right up to, the end of Fuel. That is strong as it gets for an Eminem album in sort of recent times. So it's just good that we've got such a lot of quality tracks in this album. I'm not sort of saying that any previous album there wasn't, of course, but I think from those tracks all the way up to Fuel, you probably can't get any stronger than that. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, especially when it comes to obviously the replay value of each of those songs. I mean, don't get me wrong. For me, in terms of replay value, obviously, Music to Be Murdered by Side B for me is, well, like I've said multiple times, is the stronger side. But the last album, which really had true playback value, which I wouldn't mind listening to the whole album, is for me Recovery. Like a lot of the albums in between, I do like them as a whole, but there are some skips, or there's songs where I listen to now and I'm like, yeah, I'll just skip this one for now. Or
Yeah.
like I say, but this one in terms of replay value is one. Like I think it's good though, because there's a bit in for every type of Eminem fan. There's a bit for the ones which like this Slim Shady aspect of it, like old school Eminem, obviously with the AI voice mixing, fetching the old school M back. Obviously, a lot of the lyrics which he says in each track, obviously people have been loving him going at Diddy, especially recent news anyway. But like I say, all and then obviously it's got the new Eminem, and obviously the Eminem which we've all learned to expect now in terms of how he raps, the lyrical ability, stuff like that, and obviously the features as well. The features were nailed on the head. You know what I mean? Like for me, the strongest one is Fuel with Jid.
Yeah.
It absolutely smashed it out of the park. Obviously, Jelly Roll's chorus on Somebody Save Me. White Gold did absolutely brilliant as usual. Bizarre actually did a very good verse.
Yeah, the outro on that was phenomenal.
And Ken Kniff came back, so all in all, happy boy. Happy boy.
Too right. So since our last episode, there hasn't been a lot that's kind of gone on in terms of Eminem related stuff. Of course, the official music video for Somebody Save Me came out on the 21st of last month. So I just wanted to try and get your views on that, guys. It was quite an emotional track, obviously. How did you think the video was done well?
Well, I think it's obviously very sort of like I thought it was like quite reminiscent of Mockingbird, pretty like straight away.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea of him using like actual home footage is still quite an insight that probably not a lot of people would like to show, especially when it's obviously at him at a low point. But yeah, overall, I thought the video was really good. The use of like obviously different sets to show different stages in his life as well, that counter into the lyrics. Yeah, really clever.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Blake, what about yourself? I mean, that intro, the sort of video at the beginning is real, if I'm right in saying, with him lying in the bed.
Yeah, so obviously it's a well-known fact that around that time period, you know, everything in his life was being recorded. Obviously, in case of tours, documentaries, you know, obviously he was the biggest, you know, biggest artist, not just in rap, but in the world at that time. So obviously everything was being recorded. So, like I say, it's a real eye opener. And obviously, I don't know if you boys saw the clip from Haley's podcast, but obviously, you know, she was saying it's a hard watch for her because obviously around that time, you know, like how young they were, or, you know, obviously Elena and Haley, you know, like you don't see it like at the time. And
Yeah,
obviously,
that is true.
like people knew he'd have been struggling, obviously, especially drug addiction, this and the other. And obviously, 50 Cent also has opened up on, you know, any struggles he had, especially, but, you know, when he spoke about M didn't want to tour because he didn't want to miss Haley grow up, stuff like that. So, in terms of everything that was shown, it does also come back to that point. Like, even though obviously he was struggling with the drugs and he did, relapse. Well, not relapse. He did overdose. Sorry, and obviously it. The whole point of the song is the alternate reality of what could have happened or what
Yeah.
a lot of people say should have happened. Is obviously it's a miracle that he did survive what he did survive, and obviously saying all the things he would have missed. You know, obviously showing the footage of Haley's is it guitar recital or something.
Yeah.
So it is a very powerful, moving song. Not just obviously listening to the alternate reality of what could have been, but when you watch it, obviously there's a range of different emotions being shown. Obviously, the bit where he's screaming at himself from the outside point of view in bed, but obviously, you know, the drugs are taking over. Obviously, there's the that when the little box room fills up with smoke,
Mm.
you know,
Mm.
like you just can't see through. So in terms of a story, like the only person to me which could compete on a storytelling level, which obviously he can't do for obvious reasons, is Tupac in terms of storytelling, getting a point across, stuff like that. But Eminem is fantastic at doing it, especially when it comes to. I think Ross mentioned it in one of the previous episodes. Obviously, he's not been shy of opening up to what's happened and showing people what's happened, and he's not ashamed of it. Obviously, he accepts it and he's moved on from it and he's learned from it. So, all in all, it was a hard watch, but it was a fascinating watch at the same time.
Yeah, so that was the third official single and music video of this album. Potentially there is going to be a fourth, but of course we don't know what it is going to be at this moment. But if you guys were betting men, what do you reckon the next music video could potentially be?
Or I'd either say Fuel or possibly Head Honcho, just because of the fact it's an easy meal
Okay,
feature.
we'll go with Brand New Dance. Why not?
Yeah.
That'll get him cancelled.
One out the vault.
Proper like purple pills. You know, like how that video was shot. That's how I want Brand New Dance to
Lots
be
of
shot.
horses. Lots of
Yeah.
horses, lots of trees, lots of Superman costumes. It could be. Yeah, I think a few probably could. Although just with Bizarre doing his little outro to Antichrist, I'd love that. Love to see an official video for that. That would be something special as well. But then again, it could also get him extra cancelled, just depending on how he does the how he does the video and how he does
Very
some of the
true.
lines.
But would he have to? Obviously, I know he's not going to do Brand New Dance. But let's say on a hypothetical, do you know what? We'll do another alternate reality. Let's say he does. Will he have to shave his beard again?
Yes, he definitely
That's a
will,
good point,
because
actually. He will.
it's the encore days. So absolutely. Did you see those pictures? That was something else, wasn't it? Like
Yeah, I
there's
thought
not
that.
much of a difference. Like not. I
Yeah,
mean,
the one
obviously he's
with the do-rag.
aged, but
There's that one with the do-rag that is just like really.
yeah.
To be honest, if he was just to take a step further back, it's literally like at the music videos from the 2000s. It's
Mhm.
quite crazy how much he hasn't really changed all that much.
But was it a wig or was it like a temporary hair dye or?
Well, I think he cut his hair, didn't he? Like no, like wore like a wig thing, and then they AI'd over the top of it. Is from what I got from the backstage photos, anyway.
I don't know because like he has been letting his hair grow out. So obviously, like my thinking was, has he put like a temporary hair dye in?
Yeah,
And obviously, they've used it in terms of getting the tone right for obviously when they make it shorter instead of having to create a fake hair tone. Obviously,
yeah.
the one at the VMAs recently would have been a wig, but I don't know. It just looks a bit real to be a wig.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what
I
you
think
mean.
it's the AI. I think it's the AI that's done that. I think they're getting someone who's probably got the same hair as him as well, or more similar to when he was younger, and then putting it over the top of what he's doing in the video. That's why I think when he wears the do-rag, you can't really tell the difference. But I'm not sure. They'll probably do something about it at some point. He'll do it behind the scenes with
Well,
Houdini.
this is a thing that sort of bugged me a little bit. Like, obviously, when Music to Be Murdered By came out, COVID happened, and everything was shut down. So I can understand not getting that many interviews from him around about that time. Although he did do a few radio stations. I think he'd done Zane Lowe, and then he was on Lil Wayne's podcast as well.
Yeah.
But we never really got a sort of feel of the album from his perspective. We did with Kamikaze, of course, with the Sway interviews. I mean, yes, we did get the Complex, the Face Off, but it was just the two of those two sort of sides of Shady and them sort of talking to each other. So what I really do want in the next couple of weeks, couple of months, is some sort of interview where he talks about, how the Houdini song came about. I mean, did he have it planned for quite a few years? Obviously, there was those. Was it some sort of film, or sorry, like Muppets, or remember the show where they were saying abracadabra, and then was it My Name Is came on after it?
Oh yeah. That was in a movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, so like I would like someone to ask him that question, like, are you aware of that, or is that just a coincidence? Like, there's just I understand the album's obviously just been out a good 2 or 3 months now, but you would think that we could potentially get something along the lines of an interview. We'll just have to obviously see what happens. But in terms of performances, of course, guys, he did reappear at the VMAs for, I think this was his first appearance at the show since round about 2011, 2012. So yeah, it came on, those that remember the performance of the real Slim Shady back in the day with all the clones, he did the same. He came out with all his Houdini clones and performed Houdini, of course, as well as Somebody Save Me. Also picked up 2 awards at the event. He picked up Best Hip Hop, and Houdini won Best Visual Effects as well. So, guys, what did you make of the performance for that? Did you stay up for it, or did you just catch it online the morning after?
I just caught it online the morning after. But yeah, I thought it was quite good. It was obviously, like you mentioned when he did the real Slim Shady, he then did Mockingbird as well. And then obviously this time he did Somebody Save Me afterwards. So it's almost like he literally replicated it 20 years later with new music, which is quite cool. But yeah, I thought it was really good. The fact that he was able to sort of make the Somebody Save Me music video come to life on the stage really well, especially with the way he even had Jelly Roll there as well, sort of on the screen. And then on the MTV like astronaut's helmet as well, wasn't it? It was like projected on there, which is quite cool. So yeah, I thought it was really good. He sounded really good as well. I still can't tell if when he's using his microphone, they've got like an AI overlay for Houdini, because he's done it twice now, hasn't he? And he still sounds like he sounds a lot younger. But I've also seen something online saying that apparently a lot of the voice stuff you're hearing in this album is just him changing his tone of voice when he's rapping. And I just said, there's no way. Like, some of it's so much younger.
Yeah, I think it was Fred Rick that said that. And he has been in the studio with him, so I can't see him lying, if you know what I mean. But a lot of people do think it is AI related. But if he genuinely is doing that on his own without any help, then fucking fair play, because he's fooled me and he's fooled millions of others. Blake, what about yourself though? What did you think of the performance?
I was actually, I was really impressed with it. Obviously, it's a shame he didn't have a little bit more time. But obviously, all in all, the way he did it, obviously Ross said the way he had Jelly Roll projected up and performed the song. And to be fair, my favourite bit about the Houdini bit was when he brought out the. Is it the same guy who's done the photos for the complex? Obviously, they've just brought the scan over. Is it the same guy?
The same guy,
yeah. Obviously, they brought him out dressed up as old school Slim Shady, so I thought that was really good. It's just a shame though. The only thing I'd have loved, so obviously, in the music video when they go to hit each other, it'd have been good if like half the stage was like the new Eminem clones, the new Eminem Slim Shady clones, and the other half of the stage was old school Eminem Slim Shady clones.
That would have been good actually, yeah.
And then obviously. They all go to hit each other, lights go black, and then Somebody Save Me start. That's the only thing in my head I'd have loved to have seen, thinking about it back like now. But no, all in all, it was a solid performance.
he seemed to just obviously arrive and then leave straight away. I think the days of him sitting through a 3 hour awards ceremonies, probably those days are over. But it would have been good to see him at least with a picture of the award.
To be fair, it was funny. I saw a thing on Twitter the day after, and it said Houdini's the first song to win 2 separate awards by 2 separate artists, because obviously Dua Lipa
That's right,
won an award for her Houdini song. So I thought that was quite funny, to be fair.
So was that also awarded like last week as well?
Yeah. So
Wow.
I'm sure I'm sure someone put up that she won an award for her Houdini song,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously Eminem won, his awards for his song. So
Very fitting of the performance. So he arrived, he sang, he disappeared. Very much Houdini involved in that anyway. Right, guys, I'm gonna get my negative. I'm gonna get my negative hat on here.
Okay.
Now, so
Here we go.
please bear with me. So Eminem dropped albeit a 40-second trailer of him going into a convenience store, buying some milk, dropping it. The Alchemist is playing a guy behind the counter, and then expanded Mona's Edition drops Friday the 13th. So straight away, I'm thinking, right, okay, maybe not a side B, obviously, but an extended edition that could see us get maybe 4 or 5 new tracks. I don't know. Of course, the day Friday the 13th arrives, and you have got Steve Berman's skit, which was available a couple of weeks ago. You've got Like My Shit, which was available a few weeks ago, and then you've got Kiri and Luca featuring 2 Chainz, which was available a few weeks ago. So really the only new track was the Shady edition of Fuel featuring Westside Boogie and Grip, which, to be fair, is a fantastic track, and obviously you get a fresh Eminem verse as well. But am I being negative, or was Eminem being misleading with the whole extended edition patter?
do you know what? I had the exact same thoughts as you. Obviously, because me and a lad at my work, big on hip hop music in general. Obviously, he's a big Eminem fan. Obviously, 50 Cent, G Unit, all of it. And when the trailer came out, he's like, Alchemist, yeah, that's going to be a dirty track. I was like, I know,
Yeah.
I can't wait. I was saying thing. I was like, I reckon about 4 or 5. Obviously including the digital version exclusives. The track with 2 Chainz and everything like that. I knew they were going to be on there, and I was like, this is going to be filth. And then when it came out, I was like, oh, I mean, don't get me wrong, that Fuel remix is unbelievable. Like, it's absolutely unreal. A little bit annoyed Ross didn't get a shout out, seeing as how it was his idea, and he's been saying it for months and months and months on end.
Yep.
That's right.
But all in all, I was a little bit like that's not disappointing, because I don't want to say disappointing is the right word to use, because obviously it's good that worldwide you can now get obviously the Kira and Leica, and obviously the Like My Shit song, and you've got this remix, so obviously it is something that everyone can enjoy and listen to. The selfish side of me just expected more, and obviously the Steve Berman skit. Now I thought it was going to be more, because obviously I didn't hear it when it came out on that the digital version only again.
Mm-hmm.
I never listened to the skit, so I thought it was going to be either the same thing as what we heard in the video Eminem put up of him ringing Steve. I thought it was going to be something like that. I'll be honest, it just wasn't a good skit. Like the other ones used to be funny, have a little
Yeah,
bit
they
of
could
what's
have
into it.
done.
Whereas which in fairness, that video he put up, it was funny, because Eminem sat there like, the fuck do you want me saying? Obviously he's there giving him a chewing. So I don't know. The selfish side of me wanted more,
Mm-hmm.
but I wish he didn't call it an expanded version.
Yeah, agreed. I think there's more to come, personally, in the sense that I think. Do you not think it's a bit odd if he's just going to spend, like Danny said, release a 40-second trailer in which there's obviously like genuine production value put into it, and all we've really seen in that trailer now is that Slim Shady's still missing on milk carts. There's no real end to the story. Like, there's no real is anyone going to find Slim Shady's body? Is there going to be any sort of like, do you know what I mean? It just seems like that. I still think there's more to come. I reckon we could get another trailer for maybe like something else that he's going to release later.
My issue is, though, is obviously he put that trailer out and obviously nothing really much materialised from it. Obviously, I know Alchemist was in there. Nothing's come from him and Alchemist, but that petrol, well, sort of gas station that he walks into, or convenience store, whatever it is the same one that is at the start of the MTV Music Video Awards. The little video that plays of obviously all the Eminem clones gathering to the arena. That same thing is at the very start of that intro, so the one Eminem walks into, and then obviously the start of the VMA promo before he comes out and starts performing Houdini is the same place.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Got you.
So there could be something. There could be something more to it, because I think with Relapse, Refill came out in December of that year, and then Side B of Music to Be Murdered By came out in December of the same year. So obviously, I don't want to go out and say we're going to get a Side B in December, but just with that whole concept, sort of releasing a trailer, then having Slim Shady on milk cartons, maybe the story isn't officially completed yet, so it could be potential for some more tracks soon. But
See, when I watched the video for the first time, and this is exactly how we discussed it at my work, it's almost like, see, the reason I thought there was a side B is it's almost like Slim Shady's actually never died. He survived, and he's basically taken over somehow, like re-kidnapped him or something, because obviously the way he walks in, the way he's moving, obviously drops the milk on and just fucks off. That's not very Eminem, that's very much Slim Shady, do you know what I mean? But obviously, you could tell it was modern at Eminem. So that was my thought process. Oh, Slim Shady's actually survived, and he's taken over, or he's out for some sort of revenge again.
Well, I think that's what I said regarding the complex thing. Like, where does that sort of fit into the timeline of this album? The fact that he had a sit-down conversation with Slim Shady.
Hold on, Ross. You're going to have to bear with a second, because I can already see the comments now. We're talking about the law of it, mate.
Yeah, I know. Someone's going to correct me and probably find the exact millisecond it's meant to fit into the story. But I still don't get the full concept yet. I feel like there's not a lot to go off of. That's why I feel like this 40-second trailer is probably going to be maybe part of something bigger. But honestly, I don't know. It just feels a little bit misguided at the minute. I'm not sure if anyone else sort of gets that.
I just don't understand why they would go through releasing a trailer like that to then only give you one track. Quite bizarre. There might be something more into it, but I mean, it is a sort of the issue with being an Eminem fan later in his career. You're not getting obviously world tours like he used to do back in the day. You're not getting lots of TV appearances or radio interviews. So it's all sort of, the music comes out, it goes quiet for a month or two, then an extended edition comes out, goes quiet, then he does a couple performances, then it goes quiet. So it's a bit stop-start for me. I would just like us, as I said, I've been crying out for an interview about this album. I want to find out more about it and how long he's been planning on killing Slim Shady off. But yeah, we've just got to go with the flow with and basically see what happens in the next couple of weeks.
To be fair, I want to run a quick thing by you boys, just to gauge how you feel about it. So obviously, I know you just said, Danny, obviously, he's not doing many, at the minute, he's not doing any tours that we know of. Nothing's planned or confirmed. But now, I was thinking about this the other day. So obviously, for example, us in the UK, very big news, Oasis reunited, this, that and the other. And obviously the big issue people have been complaining about is not just getting hold of the tickets, but the ticket prices. Now, if Eminem was to tour again, or does do a tour again, which I think he will, even though I don't think it'll be his decision, obviously you've got his management team, do you reckon they'll see, obviously, the numbers which Oasis have pulled? Bear in mind, obviously, Oasis worldwide compared to Eminem worldwide, it's not comparable, but obviously in the UK, they're both massive. So it's like, do you reckon their team will look at their price and go, well, if they can get this much, we can get this much? Or do you reckon it'll just be, he's touring, this is the price, whatever?
I think Oasis lost quite a lot of credibility with the fact that they put this in-demand thing in place, because a lot of people seem to think that it was Ticketmaster that basically done this, but they had to get authorization from the artist to do it. They just execute it. So one thing I'll say about Taylor Swift, she actually told Ticketmaster to not do the in-demand. Obviously her face value was pretty high anyway. So yeah, I tried to get tickets and I was a little bit pissed off with the whole in-demand. I eventually got through after maybe 4 or 5 hours. Four tickets were £1,400 and like 10 times what the face value was. So if Eminem decides to do that, there's absolutely no chance I'm paying mental money, if you know what I mean, to actually go and see him. But I don't know. It's one of those ones. It's like you want to obviously see the artist as soon as you can, but if the prices are going to be as bad as that, then nah, forget it.
I mean, ticket prices are always going to be a pain in the arse, and especially with the fact that with the size of sort of Eminem's sort of fan base, and I guess people that would want to go. I mean, I know people now, like my parents, would probably still go and pay to go and see an Eminem show. So it's not just going to be that like his core fan base are going to do it; they're going to be everywhere.
Going to be casual
It would
listeners.
just set out
Yeah.
so it was set out so fast, and yeah, I won't be paying for like I think I actually had this conversation the other night. Actually, I said if I had to, even if it was resale or standard price, if I had to, and it was guaranteed the last time he'd perform, I'd comfortably pay £120 to see it.
Mhm.
I reckon. That if he says this is my last tour, yeah, happy to pay that. Anything sort of north of £200, I'm like you're laughing.
See, for
Like, it's
me,
just ridiculous.
around that 200 mark, it would be like the top it because I paid that, but then so even though it's a completely different thing. So I did last December a meet and greet with Michael Bisping, UFC legend, and obviously there were some other UFC fighters there, and we were quite close on obviously, but I paid about I think £210. Me and my mate did each for the tickets, which I wasn't comfortable paying. But obviously, if I can pay that to see Michael Bisping, I could pay something similar to go and watch Eminem. But it wouldn't. It couldn't be much more.
Yeah, I think just the price in general nowadays of concert tickets is a disgrace. I can understand that it is a different era now where the artist isn't going to make that much money from, the CD sales because the CD game's basically dead, so it's streaming. But it's just the price now, and that's where I go back to Oasis. Being a little bit pissed off of them. They were, the working class from Manchester, they were for the working people, and then they've released this tour, and all they want is as much money as possible. So I think that even like these days, I used to go to a lot of concerts from the age of 18 up to about 28, 29, but it's just far too expensive now. I'll tell you what, I seen, honestly, when was this? 2013. So 2013, this was a all-day festival. So it was Yellow Wolf, Chance the Rapper, Tyler the Creator, Earl Sweatshirt, Kendrick Lamar, and Eminem. That ticket cost me £45.
Crazy.
Albeit
That's actually
that
crazy.
was 2013, I think it was. So it was, over 10 years ago. But £45. Now, if that was to happen, you would be paying probably about £300 for it. I know that Kendrick didn't blow up at that time, and Tyler was probably a little bit unknown as well, but just goes to show you how prices have sort of changed.
Well, my ticket when I went to watch 50 Cent, on the final lap tour, that cost me, and that was a resale ticket, £95.
Wow. I mean, his a lot of production though. His production was pretty expensive,
I'll be honest.
if you know.
I only went because obviously Jeremiah was good. Obviously, I don't listen to his music a lot, but in fairness, he was actually very good. Busta Rhymes was there, and I love Busta Rhymes' music. I think he's one of the most underrated in terms of when people mention who is up there in terms of not he's not necessarily the greatest, but in terms of one of the greats, he doesn't get enough mentioned for me. And obviously, 50 Cent has always said this is his last tour, one of his last tours. So I didn't mind paying it because of those factors. But
yeah.
like I say, even at that point, I was like, do I, don't I? But yeah.
So in terms of Eminem's next few performances, the next one is on October the 19th, and it will be in Austin, Texas for the Formula One Grand Prix. And then in December, he is so far. The last time we done the show, it was two shows for December. That has now went up to 3. He is once again. He must have signed a deal with the Grand Prix, so he's doing the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix on December the 7th in the United Arab Emirates. A couple of days later, he is over in Bahrain for the Al Dana Amphitheatre. And then 2 days after that, he is over in Saudi Arabia performing at the Soundstorm Festival. So it looks like he is, he's doing a good few shows before the end of this year. I think me and Ross had a brief discussion on the last episode. Blake, do you think there potentially could be a UK or European tour from him in the summer next year?
I mean, I'd hope so, 100%. But it depends, because like what do you go to? Because obviously Europe, in terms of countries you could actually go and perform in, it is fairly open.
The way he's gone about it in terms of Europe and the UK, it's usually festivals, let's be honest, summer festivals. So the Glastonbury rumour's still sort of up in the air. It would be good to see him do that. Not many. I think Jay-Z is the only rapper to headline Glastonbury, so that would be good to see. In terms of, there's a big festival in Barcelona called Primavera as well. I think a lot of big artists have headlined that over the last couple of years. It'd be good to see him maybe do that. But I think the way I'm looking at it is he's obviously doing United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia. The rumours about Australia and New Zealand for potentially February, March are still sort of circulating as well. So wouldn't be surprised basically if there was a tour, maybe not a massive tour, but just a few selected dates.
I'd be gobsmacked if he doesn't do a UK one, because obviously
because we're the best fans, mate. That is it.
Well, this is it. But I mean, in the last decade minimum, obviously, like look how much he's performed in Scotland. Obviously, you being a local resident and that, and obviously, granted, he did Wembley. He's done, obviously he's done Twickenham and that. But even just this whole album, Drop of Death, Slim Shady. Obviously, London was an obvious option to do this complex thing, but to actually turn up, obviously, I know in the end it was for obviously his, top charts plaque and this and the other, but he didn't have to come to London for that. Like, he didn't have to turn up, and obviously, huge thanks to obviously, Ross's good friend for getting us the footage and the pictures from the actual pop-up store, but like he didn't have to come to look like he didn't turn up at the one in New York, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't turn up at the thing they did in Detroit. So it's like, in terms of love he's actually got for, the England, Scotland, and obviously the other countries in Europe, it's almost like he's gone, do you know what? All the hate I get in my own country, and I go outside of my own country, and I'm adored.
Yeah, I think that is the sort of difference. It seems to I think Ross has touched on it over the sort of last few episodes, that he seems to be more appreciated outside of the US as opposed to inside it. So I think the fact that the UK have also, Houdini went to #1 as well as the album, I think that he obviously respects that a lot. So I think that is part of the reason why he turned up to London, as well as, of course, he performed with Dre and Snoop for the launch of the Gin and Juice as well. As well as that, guys, LL Cool J, of course, dropped his new album, The Force, which came with the lead single, Murdergram 2. What did you make of the track itself, guys, and the accompanying music video?
I've really enjoyed it. I mean, obviously, a little bit of it, I did see people saying it's leaked, apparently. I tried to stay away from that as much as possible. I didn't want to hear anything about it. I've really enjoyed it. The music video is really good as well.
So many throwbacks.
The way it's sort of... Yeah, and all the little references as well. And also, I think just the way that, like, maybe the resolution or the lens that it's shot on is just very old school. Like, where he's sort of panning in on the redded out, is it Mercedes that he's driving in that Eminem gets out of in the end? I can't remember. It just gave me a very 90s feel.
Yeah,
it was just very good. And then also some of the flow switches in there as well. Even Eminem doing kind of like a little bit of a hook thing in the middle there. Yeah, it just worked really well. I've seen it's getting a lot of praise online as well, which is good because it was a banger.
Even the internet nerd Fantano enjoyed this track as well. That says it all. That says it all. Blake, what's your view on this track and the video?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, it sort of pissed me off a bit because a lot of people says that the way they both rap in it, not so much LL, but more so M, sort of ruins it because it's almost like it's trying to rap fast, but they're sort of forgetting the tempo of the beat and, you know, how it was structured. And obviously, it's more because he's trying to be more technical with it, but it's been a long time coming, and I'm so happy with this track from the pair of them.
Yeah, I bet they're both really pleased that especially Eminem, probably able to say, "Wow, that's a bucket list thing right there, just to have a video and a." So yeah, fair play to him. And I guarantee you, he just practically did that in. I mean, I think there's an interview actually of LL saying they just went back and forth with the verses. Like he actually went in there, LL laid his verse, and then came out, then Eminem laid his, and they put them together and were like, "Wow, okay, let's carry on doing that then." Apparently, it didn't take long at all. I'll find it, the interview snippet of LL, just talk about it very briefly. But yeah, I mean, the whole rapping fast thing I do get is like quite a common complaint about sort of modern or more recent Eminem. But I do think in that instance, LL is also rapping quite quickly, and people just sort of gloss over that and immediately go to the fact that Eminem's doing it. But I thought it worked really well. I think it was probably one of his more enjoyable features as of recent.
Yeah, catchy hook or bridge, as you would call it as well. But yeah, so in terms of the album, 14 tracks. There is collaborations from the likes of Snoop Dogg, Rick Ross, Fat Joe, as well as Busta Rhymes and Nas. So it is available everywhere now. For those that do like the golden age of hip hop and like a little bit of nostalgia, this album is definitely littered with it as well. So you will be see a lot of the references on this album as well. Right, guys, before we wrap up, is there anything else that you guys would like to discuss?
Only thing I was going to say was I did see that the Death of Slim Shady has already surpassed 1 billion streams, which is pretty crazy. Yeah,
that is.
I mean, just over a month, I think that's taken.
I think it's his fastest album. To do that, and I believe it is. I think it's hit the top 5 in the UK charts again, following the deluxe edition, and I believe it's sort of going up to top 10 on Billboard as well. So, fair play to that. In terms of ourselves, just the usual, guys. If you like the episode, just hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified as soon as an episode drops. So join us in a couple more weeks. We'll have another episode. This is the final episode of season 2. So just like to thank Blake and Ross for obviously being on just about every show, and everyone that's listened. Our Spotify followers and Apple Music followers have progressively going up every month as well. So thank you very much to everyone that's listened. Thanks to ePro as well for allowing us to upload their episodes on their platform as well. And we've had a few special guests this season as well. We've had Scam, and we've had Lazarus as well, and even Michael Mathers, who is the Eminem tribute act as well in the UK. He joined us earlier in the season as well. So guys, just before we go, what was your favourite episode of season 2 and why?
Oh, that's a toughie. I don't know, I really enjoyed the sort of 3 episode run we had with the Death of Slim Shady, because it was all very sort of exciting and new and fresh. It's been a while since I've been able to do that with anybody, talk about an album. I think the last time I sort of committed that much time to an album was probably 2018 for Astro World, I think. Yeah, because I didn't know Kamikaze was dropping. No one fucking did. So, yeah, I think that was the last time I sat down and genuinely was like, I'm looking forward to listening to this and then seeing people react to it online. So, yeah, I'd say one of those.
Blake, what about yourself?
I mean, to be fair, I'm sort of in a similar boat to Ross, but I think for me, it's got to be the Scam episode. I mean, I've got the dude's artwork tattooed on me. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and you know what? Like he doesn't need to like he's in a position in life where he doesn't need to like message me on it. But every now and again, like I'll shoot him a message or he'll shoot me a message, or do you know, or like there's been a couple of times where we've had open conversations about just all sorts of stuff. Like he doesn't have to do that, but he does. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like what a bloke. But obviously, in terms of getting to know his story and being able
Some
to actually
interesting stories as well with
Yeah.
the phone call when Eminem-Pro from Hawaii, and they're like, "You've been mentioned in this new track called Stan." He's like, "All right, cool," and then obviously the
Yeah.
rest is history.
Do you know what I mean? Like these are stories which, obviously, I know he's done more interviews since and spoke about these other things, but these are little details I've never heard of before.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like it was unreal. It was fascinating. It was fascinating to be able to be a part of. Like I say, every episode we've done, I think, has been phenomenal. Obviously, unfortunately, I wasn't able to make one of them, but all in all,
Good enough.
oh yeah, I mean, it's been fantastic, and obviously onwards and upwards for the next lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So, season 3 will begin in the next couple of weeks. It'll be a new look. We might even get a new logo as well, with a couple new special guests throughout the season as well. So, fingers crossed for that. Thank you to Blake and Ross for joining me. Thank you to you for listening, and we will see you again very soon.